wait. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money and the power, never be fake. Stick to code, sign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV.
Today, I want to talk about Netflix and Disney. I don't know if any of you own Disney stock or Netflix stock, but there's a new report this week that says that Netflix is now worth more than Disney. I'm going to read some of this to you real quick. This is from Worldwide News Today, which is, oh, you know what? Let me see here. I don't know much about this site, but it looks like they're referencing another site, so I'll read from here. With Disney's parks and resorts shuttered across the globe due to the ongoing pandemic, and movie theaters across the nation sharing a similar fate, Disney's revenue has been severely compromised, giving leeway for companies like Netflix, which are focused on stay-at-home products like video streaming, to gain a financial advantage. In fact, Netflix has officially passed Disney in terms of net worth, with stocks for the company hitting an all-time high. The current stock price of Netflix is $426 per share, giving Netflix a current market cap of $187.3 billion, putting it just over Disney's $186.6 billion. Since the start of the pandemic, Disney has accrued $13 billion in debt and credit agreements in order to mitigate the financial effects of closing down its parks and film studios. So what's going on here is basically Netflix is not. There was a time where Netflix was kind of staving off Disney. You know, Disney was coming in, and they were sort of the big players in the the streaming market, and they were going to come in and change the world. And Netflix not only withstood Disney's attack on the market, at least thus far, they've actually continued to grow and prosper. Netflix is interesting because you would think that with almost 200 million paid subscribers that Netflix would be incredibly profitable and have no debt and things like that. But Netflix actually increased their debt. I think they doubled their debt last year to deal with the fact that Disney was coming in and going to compete with them. Netflix has a lot of interesting dynamics happening that, from what I've been reading, in that they they're dealing with a lot of increased competition from a lot of people that are saying, oh, we can stream too. So they're taking their content off of Netflix and saying, oh, we're going to create our own streaming service. So Netflix has more competitors in that space, which also requires them to put more money into their own content. So the content's gotten much better over time. And then also, it's really interesting to watch how, despite the presence of Disney and Hulu and even BET is in the streaming game, like everybody's streaming now, Netflix just kind of stands out. Like Netflix stands out from what I think is a first mover advantage, which is huge. They had almost a decade or more to get established and to get set in that market before anybody else really started seriously trying to move online. So they got the first mover advantage, and then they're also pretty well capitalized, and their content is good. It's great. Their algorithms are awesome in terms of giving you a wide variety of content and knowing how to really serve customers all around the globe. Disney doesn't have that. We have Disney Plus in the house. The kids like it, but I got bored with it after about a week. There's some stuff there, but I think Disney kind of felt like, okay, we can come in and be the big elephant in the room. We've got these big brands. We've got a Pixar, and then we've got Marvel and whatever, and they're laying their big brands out. But having a few big brands is not as effective as just having tons and tons and tons of content everywhere, because I'm finding that with Netflix, even though they have the brands too, it's a different kind of thing. Like they'll just do these one-off, shows with like they'll have Dave Chappelle do 3 stand-up specials. Then they'll have Chris Rock, and then they'll have one of those white ladies, the lady from SNL or whatever. and it just gives this variety that draws people in and keeps people there and keeps their churn rate low and everything else. I think Netflix is going to be hard to compete with, because I think that a lot of people are willing to pay a little more for Netflix than for Disney, and they're going to be willing to do that, and they're just sort of entrenched. Like, Netflix is just one of those things that you are almost never going to get rid of. And also what's fascinating is, before, it almost looked like Disney had an advantage because they had so much happening in the real world. Netflix was all digital. Disney's got all this physical space, physical locations, studios and parks and movie theaters and everything else. And now all of that becomes obsolete. Now everything's digital. Everything's digital. And so here Disney comes in. They got 50 million subscribers, which is pretty good, to begin. But remember, they're taking these subscribers at a loss. They're not making as much money from these subscribers as they could be. And so, that subscriber base can't sustain a massive company that's got all this physical stuff going on. And really this whole situation with the pandemic, I think it accelerated what was already happening in the entertainment space. I have a friend who works for a major studio, and one thing that she said to me is, she said, I told her what we were doing, with Boyce Watkins Films and the movies we're making and the types of content, all that. And she said, actually, you guys are ahead of us, because now everything's going digital. We're all trying to go digital, and we're trying to learn what you folks already know how to do. And so I personally think Netflix, it looks like they've made a good move. They're in a good position. Netflix stock, if I'm not mistaken, has actually done well during this whole crisis. Not every stock has plummeted. Not all stocks have plummeted equally. Zoom stock shot way up. I mean, that's made a lot of money. Today, Netflix went up another 4%. In the last 5 days, Netflix, let me see. Let me look at the last month. How about that? Netflix stock is at 445 now, 57. It was at the beginning of the month, $298. So it's gone up $150 in the last month. And that's pretty huge. That's about a 45-50% increase. And so Netflix has really benefited from this whole downturn. So don't think that every company in every industry is getting its butt kicked. There are some companies that are actually better off now than they were before. Zoom is another example. Let me look up Zoom real quick. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up button. So let me see here. Zoom stock. Let me see what Zoom stock has done over the last month. Zoom stock over the last 5 days, it looks like it's gone up. Just over the last 5 days, it's gone up from 117 to about 150. The last month, it started the month at 107.86. 1 month ago, it was 107.86. It reached a high of 159. So 107 to 159, that's a huge increase. Oh my God. And so, yeah, so Zoom stock has been a hell of an investment. And Zoom is doing the damn thing. So not every company's been losing. There's some companies that are actually prospering in the downturn. What's going to happen also afterward? The big question for Disney is, how long is it going to take before people in a post-corona world are going to even want to gather in an amusement park that's germ-filled, with hundreds of thousands of other people, and be all close to each other and everything else. I think that this crisis is going to cause long-term fundamental damage for companies like Disney. I don't think Disney will ever be able to pack movie theaters after Corona than they could before Corona. And so last point I'll make on this in terms of the updates on what's going on with the pandemic, there were another 5 million people that applied for unemployment benefits this week. That brings the total to 22 million people. The highest, I think the previous record for unemployment benefits filed in a week was about 650,000. So if you want to put that into context, we've broken the record 4 weeks in a row. 4 weeks in a row, we obliterated the previous record of unemployment filings. At some point, the number of deaths and the amount of suffering from the economic devastation is going to exceed the number of deaths that have come from any sort of virus or ailment. So they're gonna have to find ways to protect people as they go back to work. I had a friend who happens to be a millionaire, and he debates with President Trump on Twitter. Well, when Trump tweets, he tweets back. I don't know if Trump sees the tweets or not. And so Trump said something about getting America back to work and everything else. And my friend said, I'd like to ask the Trump supporters, are you willing to let this man put you and your family at risk in order for him to get the economy going? And I thought about that, and I said, be careful with that comment, because you're a millionaire. You can stay home forever. You're going to be fine, like financially. You've got, $10 million in the bank. Most people don't have that, and so I would almost say that every wealthy person that feels that we should stay home indefinitely should be required to give a percentage of their wealth to all the families that can't pay the rent this month. I think that would be a fair way to, fine. If you want everybody to stay home, then help pay for it, because a lot of people are out here really suffering. And I really think that at some point hard choices are going to have to be made. And I talked about that a lot yesterday, so I'm not going to go back into that. But really, the question is, how many weeks in a row can you deal with 5 million unemployment claims being filed every single week? I just really think, and again, I told you guys the data on the number of cases. Let me see. So do me a favor, please hit the thumbs up button if you haven't done it. Hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't learned how to buy stock yet, there's a free training at firstshareofstock.com. That's firstshareofstock.com. The number of cases right now is 645,000. The number of deaths is 28,000. So let's do some quick math here. Let's do some math. So we have 645,000 cases, but 28,000 deaths. So let's take the number of job losses. So let's see, 22 million job losses, and divide by the number of deaths. So that's 785 jobs lost for every one corona death. So for every time there's one death, 785 people lose their job. So so I'm not going to tell you what to think about that statistic. I'm not going to tell you how to feel, because a lot of people feel different ways. And the word think versus feel, those are in conflict right now, because we have feelings about it. But so when I say think about it for a second, sometimes people get offended. So I'm not going to tell you what to think about that number. I'm going to tell you what to feel about that number. But I'm going to say that when you're talking about 785 jobs lost for every one death, I could probably point out a lot of things that kill people, like gunshot wounds. I bet if I went to the south side of Chicago and said, for every one person shot in Chicago, 785 people lose their job, that would seem like a pretty broad statistic. That still would probably not be enough to keep people from going to work every day. That would probably not be enough to make everybody stay home. So that's it. I'm going to let you guys just kind of process that and think about that. And I'd love to get your thoughts on how long you think we should go without people going to work, or how long we should keep the economy shut down. Because I can tell you one thing, we can't do that forever. Like the government's going to eventually run out of money. We're going to have a bankrupt government. And then you're going to deal with, the problems of people killing each other because of food shortages and stuff like that. We're a long way from that. But go look at Venezuela, and you'll see a country that's very uncomfortable right now because of the economic devastation. A lot of people are dying over there because of that. So I'd hate to see that happen in the United States. So anyway, that's my 2 cents for today. Those are my thoughts. So do me a favor, make sure you subscribe to theblackfinancialchannel.com. Also, make sure that you learn to buy your first share of stock. Go to firstshareofstock.com. That's firstshareofstock.com. And don't forget, Black Movie Night's coming up. So that's going to be the 23rd. We're going to watch The Melanin Code together and talk to the director afterward. So you can go to blackmovienight.net if you'd like to register. That's blackmovienight.net. So take care, guys. I'm out of here. Have a good day. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Peace.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money and the power, never be fake. Stick the code, sign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same empire back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear. half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV.